Hey everybody, and welcome to Old Roommates. Today on the show, we revisit The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, the iconic thriller starring Rebecca de Mornay and Annabella Sciorra. So grab your nearest hungry baby.
Oh boy.
And get ready.
Welcome, everyone, to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. This is Christina.
And this is Brian.
And, today we're revisiting Hand That Rocks the Cradle, and we are once again recording at the lovely studios of What Cheer Writers Club. And let's see what we have to say about that. So we were recording in the podcast studio of What Cheers Writers Club.
This is the legal disclaimer.
Yeah. This is
well, no.
Now you messed it up.
I'm sorry.
You talked right through it.
Good.
I don't know if it's legal anymore.
Right.
A nonprofit supporting Rhode Island's content creators. You can visit them online at whatcheerclub.org or stop by club headquarters at 160 Westminster Street in downtown Providence. It's a lovely studio. And this is the important part. What Cheer Writers Club is not responsible for any content produced in the club studio. And that means you, Brian.
Seriously. Well, we often have a lot of controversial pop culture opinions.
Yes.
And I feel like today will be no different.
No, I don't think it will be.
So The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, this is what, 1990?
1990. I looked it up.
It's not 90.
It says it's 1990.
90, like 90? Okay, fine. I think I'm going to challenge this.
Go look it up.
All right, Christina, talk. Tell me what you were like. Remembering the first time you saw this movie, what was going on in your life, in your world?
So 1990. Oh boy, let's see. So I was in my 20s, and I'm going to college. I did not see this in the movies. Oh, maybe I did. Oh my gosh,
well, if
I
you
think I did.
You would have seen it in 1992 when the movie came out.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So it came out really quick, January 10th, 1992.
I don't know why I wrote down 1990. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Sue me.
It mattered a minute ago when you were calling me a liar.
Well, I'm still calling you a liar, but it has nothing to do with this.
All right.
So anyway, I think I did see it in the movies. Actually, I can't remember who I was with. I feel like it might have been a date.
Okay.
Like a weird date movie.
I think it's a good date movie.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Because like if back then for a date, like because there's so much wrong. It's like very clear like who's right and who's wrong. So you can kind of have that instant bond of like right from
True.
wrong.
Especially in this particular
story.
I mean, Fatal Attraction, that would be a different story.
That would be a horrible first date movie.
My friend Lisa actually had her first date seeing Fatal Attraction.
I think we talked about that.
Yeah.
Because I started with my father and my stepmother.
Was it Fatal Attraction or Basic Instinct? It might have been one of the. It was one of the. It was either one. It was a terrible choice. But
God.
So anyway, back to this movie.
Yeah.
When I watched it in my 20s, I felt like it was one of the scariest movies. Like I felt like a lot of things in the movie were being done that hadn't been done before, and there were a lot of like suspense and shocking moments. I loved Rebecca in it. I liked Annabella.
Annabella Sciorra.
Annabella. In any case, I liked it.
All right, so
And
92,
you?
I was 19. Yeah, wow. And I actually, truly, I think I may have seen this twice at the movies.
Yeah.
And so I think then... Was I already working at Jordan's? So, like, there was always this Friday night movie crew, and I think that's right. Oh, Lord.
Wow.
Oh, my God. It doesn't matter. But I feel like I start with people, and it was definitely a crowd pleaser. And, okay, so I'm going to... what I remembered most about this movie is it actually is a scene with Annabella Sciorra. To me... when there's a scene, and this does relate to then, where she's having that asthma attack on the porch. Oh. And the director, Curtis Hanson, who would later do LA Confidential and other. He like has the camera go right up to her face as she's like gasping her last breath.
It's not even gasping. It's
she stops
like,
breathing.
She stops breathing.
And her eyes almost like... I was like, oh my God, they killed the main character.
That was incredible.
But they didn't.
Right.
I mean, spoiler alert. She ends up going to the hospital and all that. But I remember, I like being surprised. And this movie is full of surprises in some really great ways. And that's what I remembered most about it then. But yeah, it was such a crowd pleaser. And it made, I mean, I think it was made for... I think I wrote it down because it was like a really big hit. So it was made for $12 million. It made $140 million.
Wow.
For like a movie that it's a kind of a small story.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A small cast.
Yeah,
right?
small cast, small story. And I thought it was fantastic.
It really put Rebecca De Mornay on the map, too. I don't think she did much before that. Oh, wait, she did...
Oh, my God.
No, she did Risky Business.
Yeah.
Risky Business. But I mean, as far as like a main
Sure.
character,
I mean,
leading lady.
I guess before this, yeah, in terms of like say hit movie, I guess at that point she was probably considered a one-hit wonder. But this made her.
Yeah, and she wasn't that great in Risky Business.
I agree.
So I mean, it was sort of, I think, a surprise that she was so good.
Fantastic. She was fantastic in this.
She was
absolutely. She really quick right after this movie, she made a movie with Antonio Banderas called Strangers. Oh my God! This is why middle-aged people should not be doing podcasts. I don't remember anything.
Life, friends.
I don't remember anything.
True life.
Strangers. I'll find it and I'll say it later.
Just find it.
But she's amazing in that, and she actually bites. And it's worth finding. She bites Antonio Banderas' butt in a serious close-up shot. It's out of control. It's a very good thriller.
I've never seen that.
So now let's jump into now. Mm-hmm. I rewatched this movie. I think about 2 weeks ago.
I watched it a little while ago, actually.
Okay.
For the podcast.
Yeah.
But it was like when we
first talked about
doing it.
We're just going to jump in. Shallow dives only.
Shallow dives.
# shallow dives only. The first thing that jumped out to me, does Peyton or Rebecca De Mornay not look just like a young Hillary Clinton?
Oh my gosh, I did not notice that. Oh my gosh,
my
that's funny though.
God. See this movie.
That is funny.
And we should say quickly that we got it from our local library to watch.
Yes, we did.
This
and
is,
most of the things that we get.
Because people, we love getting reviews and on iTunes and Apple Podcasts, whatever they're calling it now. But it's like, people say like, I only wish I could watch these movies. And truly support your local library. Local libraries have vast DVD collections. This is how I watched it. And you too, because
yes, absolutely. But most of the things that we revisit, I received from the library.
Yeah, and you have to check it out. Like she looks so much like Hillary Clinton in this movie. It's such a missed opportunity that she wasn't used, or that she couldn't be working more. Who was that?
Was that me?
I don't think it wasn't me.
It's probably me.
But anyway, so that was the very first thing that jumped out at me. I will say, I liked how this movie started with this sort of like, do they meet, what's his name, Solomon, before Claire's doctor's visit? I can't remember.
Let me see in my notes. Maybe it'll say because
But my point is this. So Solomon, played by Ernie Hudson, who's amazing in this movie, still then now, and he is seen walking into the back door because he knocks on the front door of the house.
Right.
They don't hear him. He walks to the back. He is wearing, because it's starting to rain a little, he puts his hood up. So you have this, black man wearing a hooded sweatshirt walking through someone's yard. And it was interesting. It hit me much differently this time around because there's so many of these horrible stories. They're not getting specific because we're not that kind of podcast, but it's like these really sad stories of African Americans that are killed for, wearing hoodies and neighborhoods and white neighborhoods and all this. And this movie was kind of ahead of its time in that sort of, it played up that white paranoia fear of black people. And she screams and drops her glass, which is, I appreciate that they did it.
Right.
And I could see someone really having a hard time that they did this. I think in 92, it means something very different now. And it hit me in a very weird way. But I really liked that. I liked that they did that because it's like basically saying, "Oh my God, a black man in my backyard! Like, what is happening?" Like, but then the real enemy, is the person that you trust, like on site,
right?
And you bring her right into your home, and you open your entire world. You meet her once
for 1 second. Yeah. So
the pretty white blonde lady.
I had forgotten about that first introduction to Ernie. I thought that it was, what's the character's name? Solomon. I had forgotten about that. I remembered it as him already being at the house doing the work before the movie even started. Like, I forgot that whole first meeting. And I thought it was interesting, especially revisiting it, where they were trying to lead you in a certain direction. Mm-hmm. Because watching it for the first time and not really knowing what it's about, you think, oh, this is, this person looking in the windows, and you don't know the background and all that. Yeah. So it was interesting how they had tried to lead us in a couple of different directions. Even when she first visited the nursery where she does the, breastfeeding of this child, you think for a second, I remember when I first watched it, thinking she was going to kill the baby.
Yes, with
right?
the pillow.
Because she picks up the pillow and she slowly walks over, and you think she's going to suffocate the baby. I forgot all those little twists and turns that they had put in there. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was kind of neat. Yeah. But yes, it's a great point that she trusts this other woman who literally, which was really funny, literally steps in front of a bus. So
to stop the bus. Because the girl forgot her backpack.
The bus. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of these little things were a little bit convenient that she happened to be there and she happened to save the day.
This is such a movie, but it works.
It works.
Yeah. For me, it works.
You have to sort of go in there being like, okay, that's what they did in this movie, and that's okay.
Right.
You can't really think too much about it.
Yeah.
Even, just there's a few things actually. But yeah, she happened to be there when what's Annabella's character's name? Claire. When Claire needed her first, she, jumps in front of the bus to save the day.
Yeah.
She, and it's very similar to the single white female conversation that we had where
yes, it is.
All of a sudden she was going to hire this woman to basically live in her house and take care of her children. Did she call references? It was just kind of nuts.
No,
she had said that
she had this feeling. And I'm telling you, this is why this movie, I was maybe even a little ahead of its time. It's all about the feeling. So you see the black guy in the hooded sweatshirt, she feels fear. Mm-hmm. The white paranoia thing. And then you see a pretty blonde lady who smiles at the right time and really understands and wants a baby. Mm-hmm. And it's and then you invite her to dinner. So you scream bloody murder at this, God forbid, a man walking in your backyard, and you invite the white blonde lady to dinner. Right. It's really kind of fascinating to watch now because it's wow, it resonates in such a different way.
Well, and what? I mean, it almost would be more effective now. Don't you think?
Yeah.
If someone, I can't think of any off the top of my head that use that technique now. Yeah. But I think it would be pretty effective now as at the beginning of a horror movie.
I will say, and I know we're just jumping all around, but that scene with the bus and so the one of the negatives for me and sort of early on with the Peyton character is she has a lot of she has a lot of facial expressions. Mm-hmm. As soon as Claire turns her head, her face contorts into this evil face. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
And it's right off the bat. It's immediately.
Right.
It's so fast. She's like, oh, well, why don't you come into the house? She's like, okay. Smile. Claire turns her head and Peyton's face is evil. I think they even changed the music. It's
I think they did.
That's heavy. I don't think it's necessary.
It's sort of force feeding.
It's a little,
Okay,
but
that
is like the movie
has an alternative
overwhelming itself.
The best look she gave though was in the lawyer's office when he's saying, the lawyer's saying, basically your whole entire life is ruined. Yeah. You don't have a penny. Yeah. And she goes to get up, and he's like, "Can I help you?" And she's like, "Daggers." Yeah.
She's good.
She's so good. She has the best kind of evil looks.
Yeah. So I'm going to say, what else? First of all, I do have a million notes.
I have a million notes too. I think most out of any podcast.
This movie, it's one of those things where it's like all of these kinds of thrillers that we've revisited, Fatal Attraction, Single White Female, I guess even maybe to a point like Halloween or Friday the 13th. But it's like this. For some reason, the terror starts instantly. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're talking the first night Peyton stays there. She is breastfeeding the child.
Yes,
that's ballsy.
Very ballsy.
She's just crazy. I mean, first of all, it's disgusting. So, but a million things and a half things are disturbing and wrong about that. But it's the first night.
But it really speaks, and I think that this is going to sound a little bit weird, but I feel like I related better to her rewatching it, revisiting it, and I think it's because I'm a mom now. Yeah. Right? And I was so much more sympathetic to her. And so, in my opinion, yes, it started right away, but I also feel like she has been planning this from the moment she had the miscarriage. That's and she saw the victim's picture on the TV, which I don't think that they would really do that. Claire's picture was on the TV on the news.
Well, they do that? Think about
the victims?
All that. Listen.
Oh, and she never actually officially filed. Do you realize that? She never actually filed. She's the one that she brought up complaint. And that's what started the storm of other women.
Right, came forward.
But she never officially filed a complaint, like legally. Okay. And said it on the news. She's like, the first woman to come forward never actually, they said it on the news. And that's why I thought it was kind of strange. First of all, to put a victim's picture up on the news so everybody can see, oh, this is the one that got molested. But also that they would put her name and the picture and the fact that she didn't file a claim. Like, I just don't think that they do that now. I just don't think they do that.
Kristen, they do it every day.
I don't think they put the like it's a victim who hasn't officially filed anything. I don't think that they would put a picture of her.
I would almost.
I'm not talking about celebrities. I'm not talking about that sort of thing. Okay. But like Joe Victim on the side of the street.
Did she have to testify?
I don't think she did.
Oh, damn, I don't remember. But I
don't think it ever went to trial.
Listen, I don't think witnesses have... I think this is part of the problem. I don't think witnesses... we shouldn't jump into real life but too much with this, but I don't think that witnesses have as many rights as we are led to believe. I think I think their pictures are thrown up and everything. Even this... We'll go back to the Weinstein thing. Even the unfamous are splattered all over the media and in articles and everything else. Like they are showing people's faces.
Is it because of the
high profile
person though? Like the high profile. Yeah.
But if this is local news, it is high profile.
I don't know. We'll have to.
And by the way, it's Eugene from Days of Our Lives.
For Days of Our Lives fans, this guy was the goofiest, most quirky character on
lovable
television.
Is the word I think
super
you're looking
lovable,
for.
Adorable, funny,
and he plays the
goofy,
gynecologist.
And he plays that
ruins
monster.
Everything. And I will agree with you. There is, and I felt this then though too when I was 19 or 20, that like I felt sympathy for Peyton. I did. I really did. Like this poor woman, like you don't know if you get the sense that she really is blindsided. I don't think women would have a baby with someone who's molesting women.
I think she was completely blindsided.
And so you have this thing where it's not like, say, Alex Forrest and Fatal Attraction. Like, you get this thing where it's like her life is rocked, and she's probably wondering, how did this happen? And then it's like, here's why. Here's why your husband killed himself. And leading up to the loss of your baby and the loss of your money and your house and all this kind of stuff. And it's all because this one woman came forward.
Right.
And she snaps. And
so from that moment on... she's planning her revenge.
That's right.
And I also feel like from that moment on, yes, she snaps, but all she wants is a baby. Like, that's really what it is.
It's sad.
It's so sad. It's not that she wants to kill Claire. She just feels justified in killing her so that she can have the family that she deserves.
Yeah, she wants to essentially kill Claire, ruin Claire's life so she can
Take
slide
her place.
right in.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's funny that you said the word sympathetic, and in my notes I wrote, the music at the breastfeeding scene is sympathetic. Mm-hmm. So the movie it's layered. Like, it's not just this, like, horror thriller,
right.
You know. I mean, it consistently feels like a movie, but it does add this layer of, like, this woman was wronged. Like, her whole life was destroyed. And her actions are disturbing, but there's another layer to the story
and I felt it much more now.
Things.
I don't remember feeling that same amount of empathy towards her when I was, in my 20s before I was a mom. I don't know. I don't remember it, but when she picked up that baby and started breastfeeding him, I felt like, oh my gosh, this must be so amazing for her to finally, after all this time, feel like you have your baby.
Yeah.
Oh, I almost cried. It was really, really moving.
Yeah. And she does a great job with that. I mean, she's so good in this. Let's see, what else did we like? I said, speaking of Rebecca De Mornay, I wrote, she somehow looks sexy in gray sweatpants and a gray sweatshirt.
Yeah, she's just sex on a stick, that
right?
one.
Because
she is just beautiful.
Because what's funny is that scene where she walks down the stairs and Julianne Moore's character's husband is like just staring at her, and I'm like, wow, she's just wearing a gray sweatpants and gray sweatshirt. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, she's kind of like rocking that look. Like, she actually looks
yeah, and
sexy.
I think she's she's working the girl next door kind of look at me, and but I agree. Like, she's just. Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Let's see. There's a lot that I liked, but let's balance this out a little bit. Was there anything that jumped out at you that you did not care for so much this time around?
I do feel like there's some comments sprinkled into my notes. I do feel like the whole premise of it, like we started to talk about a little bit, is a little bit, kind of coincidental. Just knowing, I don't know, all the planning that would have been involved. Like, where was she this whole time? It's been 6 months, right? Mm-hmm. Somewhere around 6 months. Just Claire not really following up and calling references was kind of odd.
Also, does she didn't live in that house.
She lived
and the big nice house with the wind chimes. Like, but the breast pump's there. So what does that mean? That was the part I was like, and I not sure if I had enough time to process that younger. I think I was just enjoying the movie.
So do you understand what, like, I don't mean to say this in a condescending way, but do you understand, like, what the breast pump is for? It's to keep the milk going.
But,
yes. So I think she needed to use it after she had the miscarriage. She had to keep using it to keep the milk going when she was not with Claire. And then when she started living with Claire, she didn't necessarily need the breast pump because she was feeding the child. So the child was taking care of that.
Got it.
So I think that...
So that she could realistically have been out of that house for a bit.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
I think maybe she went back and forth.
That's one I didn't get. And then she had the wind chimes. Mm-hmm. I mean, she took them from the house. I guess that must have been her, like, last
Yeah, I thought,
night?
like, kind of putting it all together was a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
When she's looking at the picture. And I loved Julianne Moore's character. I thought she was fantastic.
She was
like, I loved every scene she was in. She was so good. I loved that she was, like, skeptical from the get-go. And so it was super fun. But I did think that the chimes were kind of like, that's what pulled it together for her. She noticed the chimes. Yeah. And I remember her, saying, oh,
that
what is that noise? Like, that was hilarious. And then she got the look from Peyton for that. But just kind of, I'm glad that she was starting to figure it out and did a little bit of research. How did she pull it together for that person, though? Oh, because she saw the actual
That's the
house.
point.
That's right.
Yeah, the house.
She saw the actual. She saw the chimes. And
she's like, oh, the good doctor. She's like, oh, the good doctor's house is still on the market, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that I thought just a lot of like kind of convenient.
And how
sort of
difficult,
things.
oh my God, to dig up anything without, because didn't you have to go to the...
You have to go to the library, right?
To look
Talking
up, like,
about the library.
The microfiche.
The microfiche. Oh my God, I wrote that down, looking at the microfiche. And then, I did like that slow reveal of the face. Mm-hmm. So because of the microfiche, right, it took a while for it to, like, get into focus. Yeah. And then she was like, oh, my gosh. So that was kind of fun. What else did I not like?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I thought this was such a waste of time. The setup to the surprise party, mm-hmm. I was like, wow, that could have been cut. And it would have not changed a stick.
Yes, that was a lot. Yes,
I mean that is just the setup. It's just the setup was too long. Mm-hmm. I mean, I like that when she's like, "You're fucking Marlene." And he's like, "Oh my God, Claire, there's people in the living room." Which also in my negative, the entire character and acting performance, and I feel bad saying that
of the husband. He's terrible. Weakest link.
Oh my God,
by far.
Did he have any emotional compass?
He was like, you could have had a cardboard cutout of this man in every scene, and it wouldn't have made a difference. He was terrible.
Get this. If my research is correct, mm-hmm. he beat Kevin Spacey for this role.
Really?
Or Kevin Spacey turned it down. But I don't know. I don't know if it's just, I mean, Claire loses his proposal because mm-hmm. Peyton steals it, which that part pissed me off.
Yeah.
Okay. Christina, here's a super important envelope. It has to fucking get there. I could bring it. No. Let me bring it. I have to bring it right now. Okay, I'll bring it for you. So do you, A, bring it right away? Or B, work an entire shift at the greenhouse and then bring it? What is she thinking? And she's spraying water everywhere. I mean, sure, Peyton steals it and has the freak out in the bathroom.
That was amazing. That scene in the bathroom, so scary.
I don't know how she didn't hurt herself.
That was
because she was really violent.
That was very violent, and I think that was really showed you just how messed up she was. Before she was I think I lost some of the empathy for her, maybe, or maybe it just showed how crazy she actually is. Like, she's not just mentally sad and disturbed and depressed. Yeah. She's really has that capability of just being completely off the rails. Yeah,
I loved that scene.
So good.
But I didn't care, again, for the setup of the scene, which is, really, Claire? Your husband's job depends on this stupid envelope. And then she has the asthma attack on the sidewalk, and
Yeah. So that again, that was the asthma was such a huge part of the movie. Mm-hmm. But I don't think I feel like it would have been almost better for Peyton to not have stumbled across that information. I don't know. Did she do any research? I don't know. I mean, maybe there isn't a lot of research to be done. But it was very helpful for her to know that now she has asthma and, oh, good, now I can kill her that way.
Yeah.
It was just kind of convenient for someone who's planning all of this for 6 months to not... what was her plan B if she didn't have asthma?
Well, to destroy the marriage. That's why she set up the Marlene thing.
And that's the other thing. Yeah. Did you feel again, this is my only criticism of the movie. There was so many little things that were so very convenient.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they had the affair. It was really kind of...
Wait, what do you mean, what affair?
No. That they had been a couple before.
Okay, yeah.
How did she know that before?
The girl said it.
The girl said it when?
The little girl, Emma, said it.
Okay. I forgot about that part. Never mind. There was one other part that I have to say that kind of made me laugh. That's sort of a negative. When they were talking in the kitchen, they're having this girly girl, moment. And basically Claire is talking about how she's basically not having too much sex anymore, right? That's the basic point of the conversation. And she says to to Peyton. Peyton already told her that she was married and she lost a baby. And now she can't have babies.
Right.
And that's why she's a nanny. So she has this information.
Yes.
Claire says to her, well, after you have a baby, well,
Oh my God, that's right.
Just a little insensitive, I think. I think I would have punched her in the face right then and there if I was Peyton.
God.
Like, what do you mean? No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, very insensitive. I just happened to pick that up. It was
That's a
funny.
good catch on that.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that, but that's this is exactly what happens. She says to her. Oh my God.
And then I did feel like the affair, like the setup, I think Claire was very quick to assume it. Like, I feel like it was too quick to assume that they were having an affair. Like, she found her lighter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. I have very good friends. And, I mean, you've got to be really insecure to assume because you found, my friend's lighter on him that they're having an affair. Like, it was very quick.
Yeah. Well, also remember Peyton, which is just really the economy of characters, really, because who else would she guess? Because she's like, well, I'm not Michael's first love. She's like, oh, you'll never guess who is. She's like,
Right.
Marlene.
But it's true. Who else is she going to guess?
Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. The
Exactly.
economy of character. Like, it's like, there's no one else to guess.
Right.
I mean, it's the only other person she's met. So, of course, she's going to guess her. But it's like, but I think Claire is, I guess, feeling vulnerable.
Yes.
And because there have been some other, fuck ups at that point, too. And, so things aren't going super splendidly anyway.
Right.
But
yeah.
But I agree. It's like if you have that such little faith, in not only your husband but your friend,
right? Exactly.
I mean,
and it was quick.
Yeah,
it was within days.
And it was also
wasn't that
you're
long.
Fucking and suddenly it was the turn on Marlene. It's like she's your friend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe,
but it worked because of what happens after.
Where they're all in the room.
After that, when she's putting it all together, and Marlene is trying to call Claire, and she's like, "It's really important to talk to you," and she's just like, "Oh, I can't. I'm too embarrassed to talk to her."
Yeah.
And that's why she didn't get a chance to talk to her before.
That's
her
that's
demise.
Right. Yeah. The greenhouse.
But, yeah.
Although that scene's amazing. Not the greenhouse scene. I think I have problems with that scene. But the scene leading up to that where she confronts Peyton, she's like, I might need a doctor. Know of any Mrs.
She's
Mott?
so good.
She was
so good. She was so good.
And just watching Rebecca De Mornay's face, oh my God, after she's exposed.
And she has the apple,
evil.
right? She's eating the apple with a knife in her hand.
Yeah.
I would love to see just one whole reel of just her expressions in this whole movie. Just from one evil look to another evil look. But it was great. I mean, again, a great entertaining movie.
Yeah.
The, getting, just all these little, subtle things, not being able to wear her sexy dress. Claire couldn't wear her sexy dress.
Mm-hmm.
She had this beautiful, red dress.
Yeah.
Really sexy. And then Peyton, splashes perfume all over it so she can't wear it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I probably would have worn it anyway, but that's just me. But she ends up with this, little frumpy...
The flowery,
really, not good. Not a good dress.
I will say something I didn't care for where the finding of things, like the lighter.
Yes.
I hate to say it, but Emma's underwear. Oh my God.
That
punched me in the stomach all over again.
All over again.
So
you just
awful.
feel so horrible.
And because that's the other thing too is this movie can be there are elements that are just in such poor taste that you're I can't believe wow, for just really a work of popcorn fiction. It's that's disturbing.
It was every scene was disturbing.
Yeah, there's a lot of
honestly,
disturbing scenes in
the
this
breastfeeding,
movie.
the whole exam thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
the pelvic
and then
exam, the underwear in the toolbox.
Yep. I mean, and then watching him being carted away, and then they gave him the bike still.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
my God.
It was so many disturbing things.
But
then,
there was that.
Go ahead.
Good. Oh no. What's really funny about that is that we both made the same hand gestures at the same time too. Okay, so but then the finding of the note that Marlene had called to. So it's I do kind of feel
findings.
It's to your point about the convenience aspect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of convenience.
Oh my God. So let's get into Michael, the husband. I wrote a bit emotionless. A bit. And I'm sorry, the scene where he's the most emotional is when he's crying at the greenhouse about Marlene. I keep seeing Marlene's face.
They were the first loves. You never lose it for your first love, right? Isn't that what she says?
That's true. Peyton, there's only one woman for me, which Peyton didn't register what that meant.
And then she goes, that's all you need. And then she walks away.
Oh God, I wrote this down, but I don't know what I mean. It says, on the phone, not an emergency. Why did I write that under Michael? On the phone. Is there a scene he's on the phone?
On the phone.
And I wrote, not an emergency.
I don't know.
Damn. But there's just a lack of emotion for what's going on the phone call. Mm-hmm. And similarly, she loses the envelope. He doesn't really care. Like, the whole thing was like, wait, what? You don't care?
He was so flat during this whole movie. You're right.
Do you remember him from Golden Girls? Golden Girls? So, remember when the Golden Girls it's a Christmas episode, and they're at the food kitchen, at the food pantry or whatever, giving out food to the poor and the homeless, and he is the father, like he's the reverend or whatever, the man of the cloth. I don't know how else to say. Well, if I say father, father whatever,
embarrassment,
Father Michael. His name's probably Father Michael.
Okay,
and so he's the one who's like talking about it's like, oh, and it's why Mary and Joseph, were turned away at the inn and blah, 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 or were turned away and all this kind of stuff. And Rose is like, Father Michael, it's always confused me. Why didn't Joseph and Mary just call ahead for reservations? Surely they knew how busy it would be, especially during the Christmas season. And like Bearthur just slams like the food forks down in the tray. And he says, I guess that's one for the theologians, Rose. But that's him. And it's like his only other little, like, in terms of like pop culture that I care about, it's the only other like little moment. But he is so flat in this movie. And I wonder if the director was like, you almost wonder if someone said to him, listen, this is woman against woman. You are the backseat driver here.
Well, yes, and he really took it to the back of the bus.
You have to care. Like, I mean, it's almost like there are times where I'm like, he doesn't realize like his little daughter is living in this dangerous
and he
house.
has a pivotal role in that house.
Yeah,
and
Jesus Christ. Okay, so now let's get to the ending. Oh my God! First of all, that punch is amazing.
That punch was the best.
One of the best punches in movie
punch
history.
In a movie,
right?
for sure.
So then she flings over the table, and he doesn't even respond. Like, he doesn't. Michael is just standing there going, "What happened? Like, what's wrong?" He's like, "She's Dr. Mott's white widow, Michael." He's like he's just nuts.
He is just,
I mean, under-actor, like the under-acting. Oh my God.
And I wonder if he did have that conversation, and maybe that's one of the reasons why Kevin Spacey might have opted out of it, if he was more of a backseat kind of character, secondary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that, but if you think about it too, it's like, okay, Peyton's exposed. That, by the way, after the punch, and just that tension of like, oh my God, is she going to leave the house? What's going to happen? I felt nervous all over again. Like, I remembered how anxious I was back then. And it was the same level. I couldn't quite remember.
Same.
I couldn't quite remember what happened after that.
I couldn't quite remember either. And I'm like, does she go upstairs?
Same.
Does she hide?
Something
has
Says,
happened.
I'm just going to get my baby. Oh, chills.
Oh, yes.
Chills.
This is what I wrote it down.
Okay, yeah.
I'll just get my baby and I'll be on my way.
And I just got chills just now.
Thank you.
It's good. That tension.
101.
Christina. It is chilling. The tension of how will they get her out of the house after that scene? Mm-hmm. It's as I'm telling it. I don't know how they do it, but it is chilling. And yet Michael is still...
And he's still just sitting there.
Like a waif. I don't know. He's like... It's like, you understand that your daughter is upstairs. Your baby's upstairs. Like, and you're just like, Peyton?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Grab her and throw her out of your effing house.
Yeah. I don't know what was happening with that. That was just not good. He was terrible. And the whole movie, he was terrible.
Yep.
And especially at the end. So maybe you can explain this to me.
Sure.
That she, and I don't know, should we take a break before we go into the ending?
Maybe a little bit. Yeah, let's
just take a break, and then we'll pick it up to where I was going to talk about.
Don't forget. Did you write it
Michael.
down?
I didn't, but
Write it down. Just write it down because you're going to forget.
I'm just going to write Michael Stairs. And then.
Oh my God, I know what you're going to say. All right, we're taking a break. We'll be right back.
Bye. We'll be right back. Hey there, it's Brian and Christina. We just wanted to take this break to thank you for listening to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pulp culture through a middle-aged lens. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating and review while you're there.
If you have any questions, comments, or observations, shoot us an email at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Old Roommates. Thanks for listening. And now, back to the show. And we're back. On. I have to be honest though. The number of episodes we've done that this has never happened.
This is the only time.
We don't ever any. Oh my God,
this
that's
is hilarious.
Really
what an episode!
All right,
is this?
So final thoughts. Although we seem to have several final thoughts.
All right. Well, before we begin, I have my note that you made me write down to say, don't forget, write it down. I
forgot.
All right. So, and I'm kind of. So he is down the basement. Oh, God. Right?
Yeah.
She did something. She pushed him and tried, hit him or something, right? How did he get there? I forget.
Okay. He was walking down the stairs to check her room. He checks her room. She's not there. He's walking back up the stairs. He turns the corner and she's at the top of the stairs. And
I jumped a mile, by the way.
Absolutely. And she hit him with a shovel?
Right? Okay.
And then he flings down the stairs and cracks off the rail and lands in the concrete.
And you assume he's dead or something.
You assume he's dead.
Okay. So then
because his acting,
right?
He just acts dead
tell.
throughout the movie anyway.
You can't tell if he's dead or not. He's just standing there. But so then Claire comes down the stairs, right? A little later, she's running down the stairs or whatever, and Michael grabs her foot and says. She's in the house, right? Oh. All right. Here's my thing. Mm-hmm. Why didn't he yell for her? Why didn't he yell, Claire, or something to say she's in the house? Was he just waiting for Claire to come downstairs so he could tell her? He was totally fine. He couldn't walk, I don't think, because he broke a leg or something. Mm-hmm. But he was awake. He was why wasn't there some sort of warning for Claire, knowing that Peyton is in the house and his two children in the house and Claire's in the house? Why didn't he warn her?
So, was he too weak to yell?
He seemed to talk fine when he grabbed her foot.
First of all, and the grabbing of the foot is a bit,
It was a bit much.
Much, yeah. The other thing, though, is I wondered if he had called, I'm not defending Michael by any stretch, but if he had yelled out for her, would Peyton have waited for Claire to almost enter a trap? Do you know what I mean? If he's
yeah.
But to your point, he could have yelled, Claire, hide, Peyton's
get out of the house.
Yeah. Or hide the kids.
Something, yeah.
Something. Some warning. He's useless.
He was absolutely
useless.
Not one word of warning. No. Nothing.
He was truly useless. Yeah. And I didn't care for that. And I will say, I'm going to jump back a little bit. Mm-hmm. Oh, you know what? We can stay in that a little bit. So there's an element that felt very fatal. Well, there's a lot of it. There's some elements of Fatal Attraction for sure.
Sure.
Yeah, that's set up. But Peyton leaves the house. She's exposed. She leaves. Mm-hmm. Michael says, now, if memory serves, when Peyton leaves, she walks out the door, and it's not dark yet.
No, it's not dark.
It's not dark. Let's go stay at a hotel tonight. Mm-hmm. Hours later, they're still packing. How would you even pack a fucking bag? This woman's crazy. Like,
you grab the baby.
Grab the kid, you take off to a hotel, you sleep in your same fucking clothes, you call the cops, and you get protection.
Yeah, maybe call the cops. That would be
calling the cops would
number
be
one thing.
Great idea. Mm-hmm. A great idea here. And, well, they do, right? Because he says, no, she hasn't made any threats. Wait, remember he does?
Oh,
he
right,
does
right,
call
right.
the
That's
cops,
right. He does,
but because he's unconvincing.
Maybe that's the emergency phone call you're talking about.
Oh, that's it. Because he says, no, it's not. He says, no, it's not an emergency. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. That's
oh
exactly
my God.
what it is.
No emergency. It's just that I found out that our nanny was ruining our lives and possibly killed our friend in a tragic greenhouse accident.
Right.
Oh my God. So let's go to a hotel. They're still packing. It's taking them forever. Like, that to me is like one of those things where it's like, then rewrite that, because that doesn't make sense. And also, why is it hours later? Just like have Peyton walk out of the house and come right back in like a psychopath. That'd be much more terrifying.
Oh yeah.
And let's see.
Oh, they could have had her go around the way that Solomon was in the beginning of the movie.
Oh my God.
That would have been interesting, like kind of
and
callback.
I do want to talk about Solomon because Ernie Hudson, to that point in, say, popular pop culture film, he's a Ghostbuster.
Yes.
From the second he enters this movie, there's no doubt he's Solomon. He
was
is so
amazing.
Good, and I think that's really, really hard to do. His acting in this movie blew me away.
Me too.
You mentioned getting a little like emotional about the breastfeeding and that character arc. When he gets that bike and he says, "You're my friends," I got
choked up on that,
and it
too.
didn't happen then. It didn't happen when I was 19. Like, you kind of think he's more of a plot
Agreed.
device, to your point.
Agreed.
Like you had said earlier, like, you think he's maybe somehow more entwined in the story. But, like, I, now being an adult, it's like,
middle-aged.
That is, thank you. It's really hit me. I loved Solomon.
He was incredible.
And just his whole story and the arc and even with being like set up with the underwear and like I just felt it. His acting is Ernie Hudson's acting, and he's on Grace and Frankie now. I don't know if you've.
Oh, I'm not at that point.
You know, he's back on the show.
He is back.
Oh,
good.
Whoops, sorry.
Great. Guess I don't have to watch that anymore.
Sorry, they brought him back. But I won't tell you what's going on. But Ernie Hudson, amazing.
Great actor.
Movie. It is done with such care and thoughtfulness. I don't know who was nominated for supporting that year.
I don't think anybody was from this movie. I looked.
No. Meaning generally that year for movies.
Oh, I see.
Supporting actor. Because I think, even though it's a horror thriller, one of those movies, but his work resonates. Like, it goes beyond, I think, what's on the page. And I would say also Rebecca De Mornay in a weaker year
100%.
would have gotten nomination.
I was surprised when I looked it up. I was surprised that she didn't get any nomination.
They're both incredible.
She got Best Villain on the MTV Movie Awards.
I think people think it's easy. It was a both very layered performances.
Absolutely.
For this movie.
There was a lot. I mean, he had to do a lot in that character. There were a lot of emotions.
And also not be shticky. And not be like, you've seen these roles that could go one or two ways, where it's all for like a careful set of laughs, or it's the opposite, where you just feel sorry for him all the time. It's like, this is a balance of like, no, this is this guy. He's a little, he has some sort of some challenges, but it's done in a very. I really appreciated his performance. It was amazing. Very realistic. It felt very real.
I honestly feel if I didn't know him as an actor, I probably would have thought he was an actor with some challenges.
Yeah.
He was that good.
Yeah.
The little girl was good, too.
She was great.
She was good.
Her first, it said introducing Madeline Zima, right? 'Cause isn't she in Mrs. Doe? No, she's not.
She looked like her.
Yeah, let me pull
But
it
I
up.
don't think it was her, because I remember looking. I don't think I ever actually.
Oh, was it Miracle on 34th Street?
She was in something, right?
Yeah, she's.
But in any case, she was really good.
The Nanny.
Oh,
as I die. Oh my God.
Are you okay, Brian?
So he had the Cradle, followed by The Nanny.
That might have been it. Because I think the little girl in Miss Stoutfire was also in Miracle on 34th Street. I think it's the same actress.
She's in Bombshell, the movie, like last year's.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad she's still acting.
Yeah. Sybil Shepherd turned down the role of Peyton.
Really?
Yeah. Her reasoning was she considers herself an ardent feminist. That she has very strong feminist views. She didn't feel like Peyton was a good female role. I'm like,
are you kidding me? She was so strong.
She was very strong.
She was such a strong character.
Yeah. You know, she had her faults, but
it's pretty crazy. Well, she
but
really wanted.
But you know,
that
at the
family.
same time, all the better because Rebecca De Mornay just. I mean, she did an amazing job.
She did an amazing job. I can't imagine anybody else in that role.
Something else I will, and that's to me that you just said that that is always like the thing for like that is an amazing performance when you can't picture anyone else in that role.
Well, even like Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction, same thing.
True.
I can't imagine anybody else in that role.
Yeah. So I will say, don't watch the trailer. Do you remember this trailer?
No.
It truly
gave everything away
to the point where Peyton flies backwards out the window. That's how the trailer ends, and it's like, well, I guess we know what happens to Peyton.
That's nuts.
But
so the relationship with Emma, I thought was really good, how she was trying to, like, get into that. There was that one creepy scene in bed when they're lying in bed together and they're, telling stories, and she's talking about how secrets, like, this will be our secrets.
Well, then later
and she talks about, like, the, if the mom died, I'll take care of you. And then she goes, oh, will you take care of me? And she said, yeah, and your daddy, too.
And she says, doesn't she say, I'd take care of all of you.
I'd take all. Yeah, exactly.
She also says, Emma says, why did Solomon have to go? And the line is amazing. She says, I guess your mommy didn't like him very much. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. So good.
It's so good how she that was, she really should have.
She set it all up. She should
have gotten that family after all the work she put in. And then the beating up of the child on the playground.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
I appreciated that scene.
That was great. Oh, we all wish we could do something like that.
Yeah.
And she did it. It was fantastic.
What do you think? Anything else? That's kind of it for me.
What else?
We have to get into our questions.
The only other, a little bit of a criticism too. Oh,
sure.
Well, I love that Emma saves the day when she's just like, "You're not my mommy," and she like ended up like saving the baby, little baby. She locked them, and then she had the baby monitor. I love that whole thing where you think that she's going to get the kids, and then like Emma really kind of outsmarted her. And then Solomon, of course, ends up being the rescuer, which was amazing.
Yes.
But I did think that my little criticism is that it was a little strange that throughout the whole entire movie, whenever Claire got upset, her asthma kicked in. But, at the very end of the movie, when her kids are about to die and she's almost going to be murdered, she, like, obviously fakes it.
Yeah.
But why didn't the asthma kick in during all that?
It's a valid
it's a
question.
medical condition. Unless she like took a couple puffs beforehand to keep it going. But I don't know. I don't know why that wouldn't have.
That's a very good point.
But it was good. I mean, obviously it worked really well. And
yeah.
And then she leans in. When your husband makes love to you, it's my face he sees.
Oh, my God. So disturbing.
So disturbing. It's true, probably, but still.
Oh, my God. Oh, and then that's the other thing. When she's like, Michael, you said there was only one woman for you. He's like, I meant Claire. And he's so dumb. He's so dumb. Even that line reading is like, actually, I meant Claire.
I take it back. Okay.
I
think I want a reel of just his scenes. Could be a comedy. He was really something.
I don't get it. The only thing is that he was told to tone it back.
Well, he really did.
He really did.
Toned it down, dumbed it down. So
questions.
I don't really have anything else, but let's do the questions. I have an FMK for you, or good luck. By the way.
Okay.
All right, I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, do it.
So I just have to figure out what you're gonna do. Oh, we can do it together. So, all right, your
Fuck, marry, kill.
Yes, is Michael, Claire's husband. Mm-hmm. Dr. Mott.
Mm-hmm.
And Solomon.
Oh.
All right, this is what I'm going to do. Oh. Okay.
Well, first things first, we have to kill Dr. Mott.
Okay.
Second thing second, I think... Oh, jeez. I think I would have sex with Michael and marry Solomon.
I got it right! Yay!
You also dropped a paper.
I did. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's really the only real answers, I guess.
Yeah, those are the only real answers.
Solomon is an amazing character, amazing guy, very noble. Michael, kind of cute, but dumb as a stump.
Yeah, you wouldn't want him around for long.
Nope. And Dr. Mott is evil.
I think, and Solomon is super handy.
Very good. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I
although
enjoyed
Dr.
him.
Mott, I mean, he has some experience.
Oh. Dr. Mott, I would probably...
I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
that would be just... Ugh.
That's so awful.
He was so gross.
Yeah. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
And I tried to do it true match game style. We're going to see how this goes.
Let's see.
Peyton is so crazy.
How crazy is she?
Her idea of a fun family game is blank.
Ooh. I have it. Should I write it down?
I'm writing.
You write
I'm
down.
Writing it down. Yeah.
I have it. I have a good one.
Okay. This might be really extreme, but we'll see. Ding.
Okay. Ding.
All right, Christina. Peyton is so crazy. Her idea of a fun family game is
Cards Against Humanity.
Oh my God! You played it so safe. I shouldn't even. I'm not going to read.
Oh no! No! You have to show it. You have to.
Russian roulette.
Oh my God. That's good.
Because she's that crazy.
Oh, that's good. Oh, I like that one. Yeah.
Oh my God, that was fun.
Oh my
go
gosh.
see or rent, find,
see it, yeah.
and the rest of Cradle. So
they
good.
They should re-release some of these things. That'd be fun.
They should.
To go back into the movies and see it.
But
Anyway,
support your local library.
Support your local library. They have everything you could possibly imagine.
And that is it for us in this episode of Old Roommates. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Give us a rating or review while you're there, please. We love our ratings.
If you have an idea for the show, a suggestion, or a comment, email us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Old Roommates. This is Christina.
This is Brian.
Thanks again for listening. Till next time.